Our guest in this segment is Marta Beck. Marta is running for Jefferson County Commission and filed initially as a person who might want to run as a member of the House of Delegates, but switched to Jefferson County Commission. Marta, good morning. Thank you for coming in.
Good morning.
Rumor is you've watched this program on occasion.
I have occasionally.
Yeah, give us the review of the show from 90 miles away, basically, from outer space. What do you think when you watch it? Like, what are these guys doing every day?
I actually find it really interesting and very informative.
Good answer from someone about to be interviewed. Yeah.
Well,
safe, very safe play.
Very safe, I guess. No, honestly, though, I really appreciate you guys ask intelligent questions and you have good discussions, and I've learned a lot, actually, from watching your show. So
cool. Well, we appreciate you watching the program and you filing for office, too. Is this the first time you've run?
It's the first time I've run.
What motivated you to this decision?
So national politics are kind of crazy. I started looking at state politics. I started watching the legislature when they were in session, and I thought I was going to run for delegate initially. But then I realized that most of the problems are more local. So it just made more sense to start there and try to make a difference there first. But I don't really have any huge ambitions other than to just make things better for as many people as I can.
Let's hear the Marta Beck story, how you got here today to this decision. Where were you born and raised and went to school and all that good stuff?
Okay. I was born and raised in New Jersey, in central Jersey, South Brunswick, right outside of Princeton. I went to Rutgers University. I got a degree in natural resource management. So I was one of those tree huggers before tree huggers were a thing.
What was your favorite tree to hug?
Elm trees, actually.
Elms.
I actually taught a tree identification class when I was in college. That was fun. Well, it's really cold. It was a fall semester thing, and
was it 20 below zero cold though? That's the question.
10 below sometimes.
10?
In New Jersey, it gets pretty cold.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not really a winter person. So when my then fiance got a job offer in Northern Virginia, I was like, let's go. So he moved down here. We got married and moved down here.
Were you a Fairfax County person?
We dropped in Fairfax County when we first came, just inside the Beltway. Hated it.
Yeah, both John and I were Fairfax County people at one point in our lives too.
Hated it. It was a false church. Too much traffic. It took, I don't think we were more than 2 miles away from Dulles. Yeah. Not Dulles. From Tyson's Corner Mall.
Yeah.
And it would take some days 45 minutes to get there.
Oh, so
2 miles.
Check this out, Marta. So my very first time in Northern Virginia, I was interviewing for a job, and it was I finished the interview and I was leaving. It was a Friday at 5:00 in Tyson's Corner, right at the big intersection. What is that? 123 and 7 or whatever.
That's Tyson's Corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the power goes out.
Oh my gosh.
In Tyson's Corner. No traffic lights work. Friday at 5:00. That was my introduction to Northern Virginia.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's not great.
Yeah.
So when we decided we were having kids, we actually moved to Loudoun County. And I lived in Loudoun County for a couple decades. Raised my kids. We started in Ashburn, and then we ended up in. You can see a pattern here. We keep moving west. Raised the kids mostly in Loudoun County. They went to school there. All my kids graduated from Loudoun County schools. And then...
what year did you wind up in Jefferson County?
In 2017.
2017,
So that was interesting because we bought the house in January. And at the time, our then governor-elect had run as a Democrat, and we thought
Justice.
We thought we were getting a Democratic governor. We're like, this is great. We're going to be fine. And then we move in January, and then he, I think it was right after the inauguration. Nope, I'm a Republican. So it was a little bit of culture shock. We didn't really expect that. But I found, and part of the reason that I've gotten more involved now is because over the past few years, through COVID and all that stuff, I've really grown to love the Panhandle. I've grown to love the people, and I found that even though right before we moved to Jefferson County, we lived in Clark County, so we were like literally, and right now actually I could literally throw a rock from one of my pastures into Virginia. I'm that close to Clark County.
You shouldn't do that, though.
Oh, no,
as long as you don't take the rock back once it's in Virginia.
Yeah, it's a Virginia thing.
So what are your goals? What do you want to fix in Jefferson? What are two big things?
So I grew up in central New Jersey. It was very rural when I was young. I'm a lot older than I look. I won't tell you exactly how old, but older than I look. I trust me. So it was very rural in central New Jersey when I was growing up, and I watched it get built up. The suburban sprawl. Didn't love that. Moved inside the Beltway, then ended up moving out at the time when we moved to Ashburn. I think it was 1997, and that was still really rural because it was, western Loudoun County, still very rural, and the suburban sprawl just kept creeping out and out and out. And, I ended up in Clark County. We ended up going over the mountain into Clark County. Clark County seems like they're not letting anything happen there. It's a very interesting place. But they're like, you can go one way or the other, but you're not coming here.
I think that's on the Chamber of Commerce sign when you drive over the border.
Yeah, don't bring your business here. We don't want you. But it's beautiful. It really is. But the property we found that we bought a little farm. We had 3 acres. And we decided that we liked farming. And it wasn't like farming. We had horses. And a couple goats, and we wanted a little more land, and we found this little place right over the border, and I cannot imagine living anywhere else now.
You found your slice of heaven.
I found my slice of heaven.
Yeah.
So now we have more horses and more goats, because now we have 15 acres. Still small, barely manageable for us. We're not farmers, like I said. We're suburban folk. My husband is. This is not my second husband, but my husband is an Army veteran. He retired from the Army. He works for a contractor now.
Is your goal to try to stop sprawl in Jefferson County? Is that what you're trying to do?
I don't know about stopping sprawl, but I think I'd like to see it handled differently. I think that there are ways to continue to allow development of homes in ways that don't destroy the rural character. For example, when we lived in Clark County, the area that we lived in, it was zoned where you could you couldn't subdivide smaller than 5 acres.
Right.
So there were, it was suburban in the sense that there were, houses being built. And but it was still enough that you could have a little homestead farm. It really did still preserve the rural character. I'd love to see something more like that happen in at least part of Jefferson County to truly try to preserve that farmland so that for future use.
So you'd like to adjust the zoning? So.
I would. I would really like to see, I know they're working on doing a rural residential zoning right now, but I still think it's a little too dense.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Yeah, I would just throw this out. Isn't that elitist? Aren't you going to get, especially running as a Democrat,
so on paper,
land is expensive. Land is expensive, and if you limit it to 5 acres apiece, that just means poor people go away.
So we have lots of growth in the municipalities, and that's something that I believe it's something like 80% of the residential growth is happening in the municipalities. We have 5 municipalities, 2 of which are growing quite a bit. Actually, 3. There's 3 that are growing a lot, and they're more suited to the denser developments. So I don't really think anyone's being excluded from Jefferson County, but as a county commissioner, I would have no control over what the municipalities decide. And since we've been watching them decide over and over again to just build more houses, denser houses, maybe we shouldn't be doing that in the rest of the county. That's just...
So what do you think about data centers in your county?
So obviously that's a huge issue all over the country now. I'm not a huge fan of HB 20, or what is it? Yeah, 2014. I do
Does
not.
that mean you oppose it? Not a huge fan is.
I don't like the bill because it takes away local control. I'm not opposed to data centers as a concept, but I do think that local counties, with our zoning and whatever rules we may have, I think we should have some say in how and where they get built. And right now, that's not going to be the case. The governor seems to just want to invite anyone and everyone who has the idea for a data center. At least that's how it appears. But reading the bill, reading the rules they just proposed for it, it looks like the data centers themselves are just going to be rubber stamped and put wherever they decide they want to put them. And I don't think that's for Republicans. It seems really strange to me to say, okay, well, you can do whatever you want, and we like local control, except when we want to give you something you don't want.
It's a fair point. Yeah, it's a very fair point.
That repeats itself over and over and over again. Yeah.
It's like we'll let people do whatever they want until we want them to do something, and then we're going to tell you what to do. And that just seems a little bit hypocritical to me. But
it's the same with the stance on home rule that the party has taken, which is I'm going to run on local control, and then when I get in, if you want home rule, you can't have it.
Exactly. So it's just.
Yeah, Matt Miller.
Let me ask about other business development, not necessarily data centers, but clearly one element of Jefferson County is that it's very much a bedroom community. There are a lot of houses, but maybe not as much there as far as business. What is kind of your stance? What would you maybe like to see done as far as business development in the county?
So there's a couple of things I think that are missing from Jefferson County that would be, I think we should definitely encourage agritourism. Tourism is a huge economic boon to our area. And from what I understand, they are doing something to work on that, which is fabulous to hear, even though they don't always go about things in the ways that you would expect or want them to do it. Sometimes they take a roundabout route to getting there, and I'm willing to give them credit where credit is due. I'm not going to criticize. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, they're Republican, so everything they do is wrong. That's not me. In fact, I was an independent, honestly, until April of this year. So, I think that we definitely, the agritourism is a great idea. I think that a lot of these houses that they're building, I think we're going to get more families moving in. And I think if we want to keep them, there's a lot of people I think are moving. They're working in tech industries. They're working for the government, although right now who knows how much more the government's going to shrink or grow, or who knows where that's going. So I think if we want people to live and work in Jefferson County, which would be the ideal, because that keeps their money and dollars and taxes, so we get tax revenue from the businesses, and we get the people spending their money, and we get their sales tax and all that good stuff. I think we need more, entertainment options for kids. I think a movie theater would be great. I know people are saying that movies are going, the way of the dinosaur, but I really don't think that's necessarily the case. We haven't had a movie theater in Jefferson County. I don't know how many years. That so something, things like that. I know, indoor malls aren't really a thing anymore. When I was young, that was where we hung out, roller rinks. But there are things we can do. I think we need to support agriculture. I think part of the reason we're getting so many housing developments built is because people aren't affording farming anymore. Like, it's just not profitable. And I think we need to do more to support the farming community. We could use, like a farm equipment retail, maybe more repair shops for that.
Where were you on the solar farms and such? How did you go with that?
Solar farms, I am not, so being a tree hugger, I love the idea of renewable energy. I love the idea of harnessing the energy from the sun. That's probably one of the best things that it's free, right? Except for the infrastructure. So I get it. Some people, they have land, they can't use it for farming because they can't afford it. It's not profitable. and they want to do something with it, but it's really good farmland. So we need to have rules in place for these. And so I'm not opposed to solar farms. I prefer to see farms on top of buildings and maybe, parking lots or, on places that aren't good farmland. However, if someone wants to make a solar farm on their farm, then there needs to be rules that help preserve the soil underneath, so that in the future, if someone wanted to buy that land and take the solar panels off and farm, or there are ways to do it in which you can farm with the solar panels where there's still pasture land underneath. I've read about places where they have sheep grazing underneath solar panels.
I saw a lot of that in France when we were there a few months ago.
I mean, there's ways to do it so you don't lose the farmland. You don't lose your usable land. I think one of the biggest complaints about the really big one that we got over there was that they stripped the topsoil off. And so even if that ever, you really can't use it for anything else now without extensive reworking of the land.
So I'm going to go back to agritourism. We hear about a lot about that as the preferred business in Jefferson County. To me, that's wineries, wine tasting, and petting zoos. What else goes into, which produces tens of dollars in tax revenue, hundreds? It's not a big revenue.
You were being sarcastic, aren't you?
I am being sarcastic, yes. So is that really generating jobs in a meaningful way? It's not generating tax revenue in a meaningful way. Am I missing something? Is agritourism mean something other than that to you?
I think there is more to that than just wineries. So some of the microbreweries and stuff like that, we have, I live near, they're opening, is it Ripon Tavern on, I guess it's what's going to be Old 340 through there. They actually own a farm right back there, and they grow their own hops, and so it's a way to keep farming. And I see it, I see it more as a way to preserve the farmland and still make it profitable for the people who own it to preserve the farmland, and less as, it's not really it's not going to give you industrial tax base or anything like that, but it does bring people in. I have family in New Jersey that would come all the way down to Northern Virginia, and I'm sure they would come out to West Virginia if we had more wineries, but go on wine tasting tours, and they would drive down from up north to do that.
But don't we need to have significant revenue to keep people here? Our teachers are underpaid. We don't attract teachers. We lose teachers. We lose cops. We don't have the tax base to support the infrastructure that we need for the growth that we have now. So don't we need to have some kind of serious tax generating income, a factory, some kind of big industrial plant?
I think light industrial could be, a way to increase tax revenue. I know there was a lot of controversy about rock wool, which turned out to be not as bad as, although, I have my doubts about how not bad it is.
Do you still have your sign?
I never had a sign.
Oh, okay, right.
I never had a sign. I'm not one of the activist class that some people refer to. Although I did fight against the water bottling plant because, and again, not because it's an industrial use, but because of what they were going to do. They were very dishonest, I believe, about what they were actually doing and how it was going to affect us.
Marta, we are just about out of time. How do
okay.
people find out about your campaign? Where do you learn more about Marta Beck?
You can learn more about me at my website is still under construction, but there's a little bit there so far. I'm on Facebook, Marta Beck for Jefferson County, and my website is www.martabeck.com.
Hang out. We've got a final minute coming out for the last 2-minute break of the show right after this, okay? To our guest, Marta Beck, first time on the radio. How'd you do? Give yourself a grade.
B-.
Yeah, you did pretty well, I think.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me on and giving me a chance to do this in a relaxed and non-adversarial.
Just say this. Marta says she's a tree hugger, but she owns guns. She drives a pickup truck, and she has a lot of land. So make of that what you will. Marta, thank you.
Thank you.